Well, I hope the sound isn't too bad on this. I have fans going because it's hot. So, anyway, this is the sun through the houses, and a lot of people think that their sun is their main um, zodiac sign, and really it's not. The ascendant is the main ruler of the whole chart and your life. But the sun is your ego, so it's important. The three main important parts are the ascendant and the sun and the moon, which is the now the sun is your expressive, how you express your ego and how you express your romantic side and how you entertain others, how you come across. Um, so it's how your ego shows up. And so when it goes through the houses, and also through the signs, because each house is ruled by a sign, then it takes on some of your ego is acting through that other sign. May like a more placid sign might tone down your ego, or a more expressive sign might ramp up your pride and confidence. And so it's um, basically it where it is in the houses, or the sign, the other sign connects, and they work together to show up how your creativity and how your playful side shows up and how your dramatic side shows up. And anyway, all of these words that I have on this first slide are traits, like with a Leo, because the sun rules Leo, and the sun rules your ego, your it rules the house of entertainment, it rules the house of romance, and so uh, now Leos can be real authoritative and competitive and confident and dramatic and dignified and extroverted and honorable, and they're leaders and love the limelight, and they're very proud and can be conceited or domineering and excessive and um, purposeful. But anyway, let's see what the first house is like. Now this one shows where the house is that Leo rules and where the sun normally rules. And that's a Leo's a fire sign, so it's motivated and persevering, and it's a fixed sign, and it rules the fifth house of entertainment and romance. And so the first house of Aries, if the sun comes there, or if you have an Aries sun in your natal chart, then of course those two are acting together. So double fire, a lot of motivation. Aries rules your self-image, so you may come across more energetic and more prideful, because that's kind of a dynamic duo. And so Aries are active and ambitious and assertive and competitive and courageous, and they're also creative and enthusiastic and extroverted and individualistic, and uh, have a sense of freedom, they can be naive or impulsive and headstrong and impatient and quick-tempered, and so you've got a double fire. The quick temper could be seen or noticed more with those two. And while, like, if the sun is transiting there, not your ruler, if it's transiting there, then of course during that time you're going to take on more traits of uh, dramatic self-image. So more prideful, more egotistic maybe. And so that's the sun with Mars. Mars rules your energy, and it's the god of war, and it rules your self-image and all. So uh, I think I've pretty much covered that one. It's you come across, they combine their energies, the energy of Aries in that first house and of the self-image, and so you might really want to show up and put yourself out there, where maybe in another house you might feel more timid, but this makes the ego really be noticeable and have more energy toward your self-image and toward your ego. And then the next house is the house of Taurus, and it's ruled by Venus, and Venus rules two houses, which is Taurus and Libra. And so now the second house is the house of values and money and possessions. It's money that you earn through your own efforts. And then Libra rules the house of partnerships and marriage. And so because Venus rules that second house and the seventh house, you're going to see traits wherever Venus is combined with whatever planet comes in to that house. So if the sun happens to come there, or if your sun is in the house of Taurus, and then it combines more of the traits of Taurus, which is an earthy, practical, persevering, fixed sign. And so maybe you might be really sensible about your money, or um, more practical and persevering about how you make your money. Uh, really go after your money with a more sensible way, and it can affect your partnerships and marriage. But also, when the sun is transiting that house, your ego might be more attached to how you earn your money. Um, you might really be more confident in the way that you obtain possessions and money, or you may be just more confident in your luxuries, and you might really get into entertaining yourself through buying more luxuries, or buying rich food, or because that's what Taurus rules, and the sun uh, puts more energy into your uh, how you entertain yourself. So you might feel more focused on um, luxuries and so forth, or more prideful about what you own and possess. And anyway, so the two combined, the traits of Leo and the traits of Taurus combined together while that sun is transiting that house. So, and then of course it affects Libra also, because Venus rules that house also, so it affects your partnerships and marriage, but more focus is on your values and your how you earn your money. And also Venus rules females, so while the sun is in that house, you might have a more um, connection to being in the spotlight with females, or be more creative in your romance and with females, or just spend more time with females doing creative projects and entertaining, maybe um, going to entertainment with females while Venus is affecting your ego. And the next house is the house of Gemini, which is an air sign, intellectual, adaptable, mutable sign, so changeable. And it rules the house of the conscious mind, your communications, siblings, elementary education. It's a witty sign. It's adaptable and articulate and clever and curious and flexible and intellectual and restless and sociable, talkative, versatile, can be cunning or a gossip or nervous, intense, can be changeable and very witty. And so and also that house is ruled by Mercury, which also rules two houses. So it also affects that sixth house of Virgo, your work house and health house and daily routines and habits. And um, so when the sun comes into Gemini, it because of Mercury, it also affects that other house. But your ego can be really connected to whatever Mercury and Gemini rule. And so your communications may be you may be more focused by showing your ego through your communications, and really become more outgoing because the because of the effect of the fire sign showing up through air. So it's like putting air to fire, and air feeds fire. So you've got this energy of the sun being basically enhanced by what Mercury is and what Mercury rules. And so your intellect might be more connected to your ego, your mind might be more connected to your entertainment and to how you show up. You might have a lot of um, interest in learning and showing off what you know, because Mercury rules learning and intellect and studies and so forth. So and also any form of communication, writing or talking or computing, any type of communication. Um, Another house rules long distance. The ninth house rules long distance communication, but the third house rules more around your home, or more around your neighborhood, more close communications, and phone calls and talking with your siblings, or with it rules the house of siblings. I mean, the third house rules siblings. So I mean, um, your communications might be more local. And then but with the sun here, you might get really egotistical in the way that you speak to someone, or you might really show off your confidence to someone when you're talking, or when you're communicating, or through your writing, or through your computing. You might really want to show up and really be out there and get noticed. And that's kind of the way the sun works. It's how you get noticed. And if you've got an air sign enhancing it, it um, feeds the fire. The air feeds the fire. So your ego shows up even more in as it acts through the traits of Mercury and the third house in Gemini. So you're combining Gemini with a Leo. So anyway, the next house is Cancer, and that's your home and anything to do with the home. And it rules your mother. And Cancers are usually more of a calm sign. They're conscientious and domestic and imaginative and introverted and maybe intuitive and moody, quiet, protective, prudent, sensitive, sympathetic. They have a lot of empathy usually. They can be tenacious. They can get sulky and feel sorry for themselves, but it's a water sign, and uh, they can be psychic. Um, it's a cardinal sign, so it's a dynamic sign. Rules the fourth house of home and mother. I think I mentioned that already. And the thing about Leo coming, the sun coming into that house, it enhances how you feel, maybe more prideful in your home, or it brings your ego to home matters. And so you might focus more on your home and what you do from home. You might have a more sense of having creative projects from home, or more entertainment from home, or uh, maybe with your mother, or might feel more domestic. They combine the energies of Cancer and Leo. So um, there might be more emotional connection to how you entertain and how your creative side while the sun is transiting that sign. And yeah, I think, oh, and also toward romance, you might have a more emotional connection to romance, or find more romance from home base. So then when Leo when the sun moves to its own house of Leo, then you've got the double effect of all of the Leo traits. You got someone who really shows up, and while that the sun is transiting that house, uh, uh, double ego, double sense of pride, double sense of being the entertainer, and trying to really show who you are to the world. Be very, very public. And now Leo has another side, though. They're playful underneath. They're like childlike, and so uh, even though they have this bravado on the outside, they have this childlike inner world going on. And uh, they have this playful side. And So all of this would be doubled with while the sun goes into that house, and uh, the two combine, sun on sun, two fire, a double fire effect. So might be more dramatic and might feel more conceited and might be more extroverted and might be extra dignified or authoritative or prideful. So that's the effect. And also might be more entertaining because it does rule a house of entertainment. It also more romantic because it rules the house of romance. So while the sun transits there, you might have more romance. And then when it goes to the sixth house, I've spoken about Mercury in Gemini, and also that it affects the house of work and health and daily routines and pets and habits and so forth. But where Gemini is more communicative and so forth, when the sun is working through the house of Virgo, you might be more egotistical about your work and your health and routines and your pets and habits, and so you might have a bigger focus on your routines and bigger focus on how you perform your daily habits. And if your sun is Virgo natally, you would have the sun would be acting through that sign. So what the traits of Virgo would be what Leo acts through. And Virgos are analytical and dedicated and discriminating and efficient and analyzing and health conscious and helpful, and they can be introverted, so that kind of dampens the effect of the bravado of the sun. They're logical and practical and precise and punctual and responsible and sensible, can be fussy and overcritical. And so all those things, when the sun is in that house, you might have a focus on any more on those things. But if your natal sun is ruled by that, you probably, your ego is connected to that. So that's just the way it works. They work together. So and your ego will be performing through the energy of a Virgo. So um anyway, also with Mercury ruling the mind in your communications, it'll affect the way you communicate. And so your traits, the way you might be a very analytical, egotistical about your analyzing talents or something, or it's it your focus would be more toward daily habits and health and pets and routines and so forth. That would be even the way you feel most comfortable entertaining yourself is through being more analytical and more um, in your mind, rather than where a fire, if you were Leo and had the double fire, that would be a more showman type person. And with Virgo, you're more earthy because Virgo's an earth sign and it's adaptable and mutable, so changeable, but uh, but focuses on caretaking and work. So anyway, the next house is Libra, and I mentioned it when I was mentioning Taurus because of Venus ruling both houses, and Libra rules the house of partners and marriage, and it's an intellectual sign, and the traits that the sun will work through when it's in that house will be the traits of a Libra, and Libra is an air sign, so air feeds fire. So that it's a positive house for it to transit. And now Libras are affable, aesthetic, artistic, balanced, charming, cooperative, extroverted, and flirtatious, gracious, idealistic, indecisive, kind, peacemakers, refined, sociable, can be in can be indecisive, but that so all of the traits that when the sun comes into that house, all the traits of Libra, all of the traits of your ego works through that house. So um, like Libras love beauty, and they are it rules well, your partners, any type of partners, not just your marriage partners, any type of partners that you have. So um, it has a sense of justice and fairness and symmetry and charm and refined. Uh, so not as showy as a Leo. So the Leo might tone a little bit and be more refined and more uh, like take on a more classic type of showmanship instead of Leo, which I mean, if your sun was in Leo, you would have a more showy than being your. See, the sun works through the traits of a Libra while it's in its house or when it rules there. So you've got less. They're outgoing. Both signs are outgoing, the Leo and the Libra combined. But Libra is more uh, more focused on beauty, and so you might be really focused on while the sun is in that house. You might actually uh, your ego might be more attached to beautiful things and beautiful partners, and you just might really want to be around beautiful things. Um, hmm. You might feel like your sense of entertainment is more refined and more toward uh, things that are less uh, well, they're more aesthetic. Aesthetics are really important to Libras. So, I mean, how things look and how things are perceived. They want everything to be beautiful and perfect and look nice. So you might, while the sun is transiting in Libra, you might suddenly want to your clothes to be just perfect and look perfect. You might want your hair to look perfect. And so, I mean, that's kind of the way that the ego will will work through Libra. So because it combines the two energies while it's in that house, or what if your sun is ruled by Libra. And so, yeah, I think I went over that a lot. You might be really focused on romance too and love because those rule romance and love. Sun rules the house of romance, and Venus rules love, and Libra rules the house of marriage, and so there may be a lot of romantic attention at the time that the sun is going through there, or if your sun is in Libra. And then the eighth house uh, of death, sex, and rebirth, transformations, is ruled by Scorpio, and that's a water sign. It's intuitive, and it's a fixed sign. It's persevering. Uh, it rules the house of secrets and um, psychology, obsessions, inheritances, money coming to you from outside sources, uh, inner power, the occult, transformations. Did I already say that? Can be competitive and strong-willed and possessive and magnetic, and these are the traits of Scorpio, and the house that when the sun comes here, these traits may come out more through your ego. You may be more forceful and powerful and fixated and secretive and possessive and probing, and uh, your mind might you might be more egotistical in your psychological outlook, or uh, uh, in your obsessions or in your secrets, um, or towards sexuality. Or you may just, when the sun is transiting there, you may just feel more focus on uh, being more entitled to sexuality, or entitled to other people's money, or entitled to government money, or entitled to inheritances, or whatever. It's your ego combining with that house brings out, I mean, I, I'm saying ego, but I'm meaning this, all that the sun and Leo rule. So you're combining Leo energy with Scorpio energy, and so those two together can create a person who is egotistical about, or entertains in the way that a Scorpio would, or maybe their sense of entertainment. It isn't always the negative side. I just focused on that for a little bit, but the more positive way would be, maybe you're a psychologist, and that's how you really get into psychology, and that's how your ego works. That's how your pride works. Or it may be that you study death and the occult, and so your sense of entertainment is functioning through that, and or through uh, maybe functioning through, maybe the way that you entertain would bring you a large outsourced money, like money coming to you from entertainment, because you are an entertainer, and so other people want to give you gifts of money and want to pay for your entertainment. So I mean, there's all sorts of ways to look at that, but while the sun transits that house, the focus is on all those things that Scorpio brings, and you might have more focus on death or your obsessions or sexuality or other people's money, or you don't, the focus is larger on and connected to your ego or your sense of entertainment. And so next house is, oh, well, yeah, I went over that pretty thoroughly already, but this is showing the combination of the two and all of the things that those two houses bring, those two signs bring together. Um, the traditional ruler of that eighth house is Mars, and Mars is your self-image. So your self-image could be used to obtain other people's money, and that would combine with the ego and sense of entertainment. So you could be an entertainer, that entertainment is how you could uh, bring other people's money to you with the use of your self-image as part of it, the way you entertain or create your creative side. And I think I pretty much already said that. Um, anyway, the ninth house is ruled by Sagittarius. So here the sun comes and acts through the all the things that Sagittarius rules. And Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it's so it's motivated and adaptable, it's mutable. It rules the ninth house of the higher mind, long distance and foreign travel and connections and formal religion. And so long distance traveling, long distance and foreign traveling. Um, Now, Sagittarius are uh, more, they're jovial, and they can be direct and enthusiastic and far-seeing and friendly and gregarious and honest and humorous and idealistic and loyal and outspoken and philosophical. It rules the house of philosophy and religion and theology. So they can be restless and talkative, and they're known as the traveler. They can be exaggerating or tactless or maybe irresponsible, but they're they're impulsive, because all fire signs have are impulsive, and that includes Aries and Leo. Fire signs can be impulsive. Um, so anyway, this brings Leo's ego to and sense of entertainment and sense of romance and so forth to act through all of the traits of a Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is optimistic and philosophical, and so um, Leo may bring entertainment and or have romance at long distances, or through long distance communications or long distance travel, or um, may it would bring your sense of ego would be more attached to the higher mind. So you would take pride maybe in your learning higher education. You could be a professor, or show up as someone who's quite prideful about, take a lot of pride in knowledge. And so while the sun transits in that house, you might feel more connected to your higher mind in things far away or foreign or at long distance, or you might um, have entertainment that is connected to somehow to being in a foreign land, or traveling to foreign lands, or you might find a romance in a foreign land. Um, let's see, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah. So it combines all the things that Jupiter and Sagittarius are to the sun, and the sun works through those energies while it's in that house. So uh, good fortune and expansion and so forth. You might even find yourself gaining weight because anything that Jupiter touches, it expands. And while the sun is there, you might feel more inclined toward entertaining yourself uh, by eating more, or uh, going out more. Uh, I'm at a loss for words, and I don't know why. Anyway, the energies combined. You might be more focused on religion. You might actually be a if your sun is in Sagittarius, you might actually be a religious leader, or during the time that the sun transits in that house, you might be more inclined to attach your ego to how religious you are or something, or just be more theological and more philosophical, and so you might be more egotistical around those things. And then the next sign is Capricorn, and that rules the house of career and father, government structure, and political structure, and just basically structure. And it's an earth sign, it's practical, it's a dynamic cardinal, it rules the 10th house, and uh, it rules structures and restrictions and responsibilities and methods. It's can be very methodical, and you're focused toward ambition and governmental structures and political structures, and can be persevering and serious and pessimistic, and all these are traits and so forth that house might, if the sun comes there, you might feel restricted, or might focus more on how the government is structured, or the ego might be attached to how it maybe a political career or something, um, or to politics. You might get really egotistical suddenly about politics, or about restrictions, or about obstructions, or about how you persevere, or you really, your ego may show up in how you seek status, and how you seek money, and how you seek power, because those are the things that a Capricorn would, they seek status, and they're ambitious towards status and money and power. And so the ego, or Leo coming there, the sun coming into that house, works through all of the traits of a Capricorn, and um, it's a slower energy. Saturn and Capricorn, it slows down where it is. It restricts what it touches, so it makes you more of a persevering or disciplined person. So it might, where Capricorn is, it could structure whatever it touches. So like, even if you're an entertainer as a Leo, or when the sun comes there and you're doing entertainment, you might feel restricted on your entertainment, or you might just structure your entertainment better while the sun is transiting that house, or you might feel more disciplined toward uh, your ambitions, and toward your structures, and toward how you persevere, because they combine the energy of your ego to your career. You may really focus on being prideful about your career. So let's see. And also it rules, that house rules the father. And so you might, uh, your father and you might do things together more, or your ego may be attached to, or you may entertain with your father or do something with your father. Your father may be key to how you entertain. If yeah, if that aspect, if that house, the house of career is touched by uh, the sun, you can, if it works through that house, your father may have a big uh, part in how your ego comes across, or how you, your sense of playfulness, or your sense of how you create and so forth. So your father would have a big effect on you, and that could just be while it's transiting while the sun is transiting that house, or it's a lifetime thing if it's a natal placement. And then uh, the 11th house of Aquarius is ruled by air, so air feeds fire. And Aquarius are intellectual, persevering, a fixed sign. And the 11th house rules society at large and friendships. And um, they're very individual. Individuality is a big part of an Aquarius, and Uranus rules that house. And so you combine the energies of Uranus and Aquarius with Leo while the sun is transiting that house. And so now Aquarius and that house have the traits of ingeniousness and individuality and revolutionary uh, thoughts, rebellious, altruistic, can be odd and unusual and unexpected. All the energy of that placement is odd or unusual or unexpected. And they can be inventive and rules big tech, electricity and explosions, and anything unexpected, lightning, ingenious inspirations, visionary thinking, thinking out of the box, unconventional thinking, an urge toward freedom from convention, humanitarianism, uniqueness, unpredictable, perceptive, eccentric, erratic, impersonal, aloof. These are all traits that an Aquarius or that house could bring. So with the sun working through that house, you may feel more connected to you may feel more connected to revolutionary thinking while the sun is transiting that house, or if you have the sun in Aquarius or in that house. Um, so you would the sun, your ego, how you show up, how you entertain yourself, or how you create, or how you the the way you work your ego through is revolutionary and unusual and very individualistic. And so all of the traits of the Leo, which is prideful and arrogant and so forth. I mean, it can be arrogant. It can also just be playful and entertaining. But all of those work through the energy of the Aquarius sign and Uranus, and all the house brings, all that 11th house brings. So you may really be a revolutionary person, uh, or while the sun is during that time, you may feel a lot of rebellion, or uh, want to change things, want to feel really individualistic while it's in that house, or be connected to some unusual inventions where Uranus is, where Aquarius is it's ingenuity, it's the ingeniousness that you feel, the unusual connection to freedom from convention, and it rules that house rules the collective of society. And so if you have a connection with that house in your chart, it's you're usually pretty in the eye of the public, or have an large effect on the collective of society. So anyway, maybe while your sun is there, you might come up with something that to where you affect your sense of entertainment, or your creativity, or whatever your ego and pride may be focused toward things that Aquarius and Uranus rule. And then the traditional ruler is the ruler Saturn, which is the ruler of the house of career and government and rules and responsibility, and your father, and structure. And so working with the collective, it could be something with government. But while the sun is in that house, you might just be more focused on maybe watching political shows or something. If you're not usually into that, you might suddenly be more into watching some, entertaining yourself through something that is a structured, or something in your career could become more of how you want to entertain yourself, or create, or might have some unusual ideas toward your career, or toward uh, some type of revolutionary uh, invention or something in your career, some sort of focus toward that. And then when the sun comes into the 12th house of Pisces, Pisces is a water sign, and Pisces is psychic and intuitive and adaptable and mutable. And the 12th house rules the house of the unconscious and spirituality. And so you might focus your energies, because with the sun and Leo coming there, bringing Leo to that house, it brings your sense of entertainment or romance, or it could be unconsciously, suddenly, things that that you feel a sense of entertainment toward could be more focused toward spirituality or more focused toward um, being isolated, because that house rules isolation, and or hopefully it wouldn't be that you have more investment toward being addicted to something, because that house also rules addictions. But um, some of the traits of Pisces in that house and what it rules, it's your unconscious motivations and inspirations from the divine, your imagination, your spiritual connection to the unseen world and mystical energy, and escapism can be, it's the rules the house of hospitalization and incarceration, and creative inspirations, illusions, dreams. It's a humble energy and idealistic, can be, Pisces can be introverted and artistic and charitable and impressionable and timid. But the thing about having the sun come there, uh, a lot of artists, a lot of artistic people, a lot of singers and so forth have Pisces as their moon. And it's because they're so connected to inspiration and imagination, and having the sun come there, if it was your sun that was ruled by that house, it would be bringing your sense of entertainment to your imagination and so forth. So Leo rules creativity and also rules gambling. So in that sense, it might not be so good. Your imagination might be, and your connection to addictions and so forth might be, Leo rules gambling. So bringing the sun there, you might be suddenly focused on either addictions or gambling, or just being more imaginative and more focused on creativity or your spiritual life. You uh, might have a more, maybe that's how you entertain yourself more, through your spirituality. And I'm trying to think of the things that, yeah, the unconscious world. You might feel more inclined to spend some time imagining, and maybe going to an ashram or something where you're into the spiritual life for a while the sun is transiting that house. So yeah, it rules isolation. You might isolate yourself into an ashram or something. I mean, you don't have to, but I mean, you might read more on spirituality. Your sense of entertainment might be wrapped up with that, or your sense of romantic. You might get real imaginative about your romantic life, or your creativity might be off the charts, because your imagination could really be focused on what you're creating, and maybe musical creation, or entertaining somehow, painting or drawing or something that your ego works through the house of the imagination. So And then the traditional ruler is Jupiter, and so and Jupiter expands everything that it touches, and it's a good fortune planet, so it brings that into the mix. And also it rules the house of religion, so it could be a real focus on something religious or spiritual. um, Jupiter rules more formal religion, and Neptune in Pisces house rules spiritual dedication and the divine connections and your unconscious world. Your unconscious connections can be an elusive or cause illusions and confusion too. So there's that. But um, and also it rules the house of loss and hospitalizations, and uh, hopefully your temper that the sun brings there doesn't get you in trouble, and or that you might have some connection with some type of loss that you through your ego or something. Maybe your ego causes you to lose. Maybe you just lose your ego and go into your imaginative world, looking at it as a different from a different perspective. But anyway, I think it's probably my last slide. So thanks for listening.